Okay, hello again. I'm going to go over today. I made a new replit, so I'm calling this one HTML2 Fall 2022. Um, we're going to start a new one. Again, you can skip all this stuff on your index.html file when it loads. If you want to delete Hello World, you can, so it's not there. It's not important. We're just going to click the developer tools and work with the console again by going straight to the script.js file and typing here like we did in the last video. So in this video I'd like to show you, we did a little bit of stuff, so I'm going to start with showing you just a little bit about spacing. So we did things like this before, and you can see that it outputs a 3. We tell the console to log 3, and you can see that what we tell the console to log, we have to put within parentheses. So the parentheses aren't part of what gets logged. What is inside of the parentheses is what gets logged. But I can put like spaces. That way I can create some space around the thing that I'm putting in, away from the parentheses, which really are just wrapping it. That way it's easier to read, maybe. And if I run that, you'll see it's still just 3. That space doesn't really matter. And if I did 3 plus 3, that would be fine. I'd get 6. And I could put in spaces if I want to make it more easily readable, and it still works. I can put in a lot of spaces. It doesn't really matter. And I believe I can even do this kind of thing. So I can put it on its own separate line. And let's see if that, yeah, it still understands that. So that's one thing you can do if you need to add in a little white space so everything's not all bunched together. That way you can see each bit sort of separately. That is something that you can do, and it doesn't affect the outcome. So as I move through this, I may put in spaces, I may not. Some people ask, do I have to put a space before or after the plus, or can I? Yeah, you can, and no, you don't have to. Just to get that out of the way. Okay, so what I want to show you is that we have console.log. We can log a number, right? And I can add, well, sometimes it takes a while for what you type to upload to the server. So this is running what I had before. I gotta wait a little time, and if it doesn't like refresh with the server, sometimes you have to like click this and then this, and then hopefully it loads. There, now it's it's synced properly. So here I'm logging a number, right? I could log text. The difference being that if I add pieces of text, well, let me run it again. It is not syncing very well. Wow. Normally it's a lot quicker than this. Maybe I have to like change something and then delete it here. Let's try that. Well, let me add another line. I don't know what's going on. Log. I'll just put 5. Okay, it is not working, so I'm going to refresh the whole page because it is apparently broken. That normally does not happen. I'm not really used to that happening. Sorry about that. Waste of time. It is kind of early. Maybe they're running maintenance on the server or something. Wow, so speedy. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so if I add pieces of text, it doesn't add like 3 plus 3 like it did before to make 6. It thinks of these as characters, like in text, and the plus puts them together, if you remember. Well, what happens if I have a text version of 3, a string, remember we called them, and a number 3, if I add them? Well, it will automatically, let me change the numbers actually to 4 and 3, that way we can be sure that it's updated. What would I get? I would get hopefully something different than 33. Let's go. What is this? So, okay, let's see. There, okay. So when I have a text 4 and a number 3, it automatically turns this into text and it just sticks it on the end of that string. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do, like if I did 4 plus 3, please sync. Well, if I did 4 plus 3, I would obviously get 7. But I can convert this to text by using a dot after the number and typing toString with a capital S. And I'm going to put some spaces here so that you don't confuse these parentheses with this parenthesis. This is what I'm putting in. It's 4 plus 3 dot. So I'm accessing a subroutine, a method we call that, something that that a number can do, just like console can log. Well, 3 can be turned into text. So I can say 3 dot toString, and then because it's a function that I run, I have to put parentheses. The S does have to be capitalized. I think I'm synced. Let's see. Identifier. Can you not do that? Do I have to put parentheses around that? Well, I'll come back to that. I thought that would work, but it's not syncing, so. Okay, so what can I do? If I did this, it would again make 43 as text. But what I can do if I have text and I want to see it as a number is I can use a function called parse int. So parse integer. And if I do this, it'll read text, trying to read it as though it were an integer number. So it's going to turn this text 3, and this function will turn that into a number 3. So it's going to be 4 plus the number 3. This is terrible in a connection to the server this morning. I'm sorry that it's so slow. So now, okay, it did work. So 4 plus, and then if you turn this text into a number 3, it adds like numbers. So 4 plus 3. So that's how you can turn text into a number if your text is made up with numerals. Now, what if I had like 3.1? Well, I'm going to do 5.1 just so it's different, so I can make sure that the server is updating. That should give me 9.1. So let's see what I get. I just get 9. That's because I said parse that text as though it were an integer, which is a counting number or a negative counting number or 0. Integers are not decimals. So to read it as a decimal, I could say parse float, and that's kind of a programming term for a decimal number. We call them a floating point number, or sometimes for short we just call them floats. So I can read this text as a float, and now I think when I run it, I gotta update. Okay, hopefully that updated. Now it reads it as a 5.1, and it treats it as a float. If you parsed it as an integer, it only reads that as a 5, not a 5.1. But if you tell it it's a decimal type number, it can handle the decimal point. So that's how you can sort of turn text into numbers. I also want to show you how to turn numbers into strings. Well, actually, I'm going to skip that part because I think I did it wrong. So it wasn't working last time I tried it. So I'm going to skip that part for this video. I'll probably update this video later. But for now, I think that's pretty good. I just wanted to show you how whitespace works in here and how to convert numbers that are in strings into actual number data types that can be added and subtracted in JavaScript. All right, I'll see you in the next one.